Al, it is time to begin our march to episode 300
Yay!
by discussing some more JoJo.
I love JoJo.
I mean, what better way to begin our next foray into the next milestone by discussing the latest JoJo.
I'm about that life.
We're all about that life. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Season Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
And this is episode 201.
Man.
And we're discussing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. The English dubbed version just wrapped up last week on television.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's time for us to finally talk about it.
Yes.
And boy, has it been a journey to get through this series.
Man, it has been wild.
I thought this might have been the case, but this series debuted on Toonami a year ago to this very day that we were recording.
Oh my god.
October 26th, 2019.
Wow. Yeah, this has been quite a journey then.
And then wrapped up on, I guess technically October 25th, 2020. Because it's technically Sunday when those air.
That's true.
But yeah, essentially a full year of this series being on the air, even though this show has 39 episodes.
Yep.
I mean, obviously you're going to get random Toonami bumps where the show will just not be on the air. But also, this show was affected by COVID.
Mm-hmm.
A good month or two that it was off the air because they could not
Dub it.
They couldn't finish up the dub because there were a few episodes left, and they just we haven't been able to get into people and to record anything, so we don't know what's gonna happen. But the show's we're just gonna not air the show for a while. And yeah, that was a good few months.
Yeah, it was rough going without JoJo.
And then it came back, and then it took 2 weeks off because of Batman.
Yep. And
then finally it wrapped up.
Yep.
So let's discuss Part 5. Part 5. 2001.
Wow.
A JoJo Odyssey. We're going to discuss these episodes. We're going to read the synopses. We'll maybe talk about some stuff from the episode. Again, some of these early episodes were literally a year ago. So some of the stuff is just going to be kind of vague recollections of. We're going to read the synopsis and be like, oh, I guess that happened. I guess that was a thing.
Also, just as a side note, our first opening is our friend Coda.
Yes.
Very
good. Very good. And then, of course, the first ending of Freaking You.
God! Man, that was a choice.
What a good choice.
It was so funny.
Good music choices for the opening and ending this time around.
It was really, really funny. And especially, the tonal difference when something dramatic happened at the episode. And goes straight into the song. You're like, well, then. It's great.
This person's about to die. What's going to happen next week? Well, now every time I close my eyes, I wake up feeling so horny.
It's so good.
It's really good.
So yeah, just a side note that happened.
It's very good. Second opening of Traders Requiem, also good.
Very good.
Done by one of the dudes who did, or one of the people who did the last Diamonds Unbreakable opening.
Oh, Great Days?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Modern Crusaders, top tier ending theme.
Very
top tier ending theme.
Oh, that song rules. I didn't even know it before this. I was like, oh, whoa. It's so good.
My favorite thing about whenever JoJo licenses out actual Western music, they do limited releases where they put the main character on a cover of a re-release of the single. So there are 2 covers out there with Giorno on the cover for an album or a re-release of Freakin' You and of Modern Crusaders. Perfect.
Very good.
It's very good.
Anyway, let's start Golden Wind.
Let's talk about Golden Wind. I had to scroll all the way back up to get to the synopsis. All right.
Oops,
2001,
sorry.
like I said. No, you're fine. A Space Odyssey.
Yep.
Never
Italy.
forget. Yes, we are in Italy.
Oh, right. It is 2001.
2001.
I was like, never forget. What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that. 2 years after the death of Yoshikage Kira, Koichi Hirose travels to Italy by Jotaro's favor. He departs Napoli Airport to find a boy by the name of Haruno Shiobana. Koichi comes across a peculiar young man who tracks him down, who tricks him and drives off with his luggage. Koichi overhears 2 airport security guards reveal the young man's name as Giorno Giovanna and infers that Giorno might be Haruno Shiobana. Meanwhile, Giorno meets with the gangster Leaky Eye Luca, who attacks Giorno and is put into a coma after his attack is reflected back. Giorno reveals his stand Gold experience, which I believe they localized to Golden Wind.
Golden Wind, yeah.
And creates a tree to escape from Koichi, who caught up to him. Koichi calls Jotaro by telephone, revealing Giorno is the son of Dio! Escaping by train, Giorno encounters Bruno Bucciarati, who questions him about Luca's death. Giorno lies to him, and Bucciarati goes away. After Giorno opens his hand only to find an eye enclosed, and Bucciarati reappears behind him and confirms he's lying by licking his face.
Yes.
As you do.
As you do.
I hope you enjoyed seeing Koichi and Jotaro, because this is the last time you'll basically see them.
That's not true.
For the most part.
You see Jotaro again.
Well, you see Jotaro again, but like these versions of these characters.
Oh yeah,
that's
these
it.
versions, yeah, that's it. But
hey, you remember how Giorno being Dio's kid? That's the last you'll hear of that.
Yeah, that's a brief mention. It's just so glossed over, and then it's funny because like they show him as a kid. He's got like a black bowl cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, and they're like, oh yeah, his hair changed colors when he got a stand. I'm like, what? And he just decided, all right, instead of this bowl cut, I'm gonna go with these like front pin curls.
It's like when I was 4 and during the summer my hair just decided to become blonde all of a sudden. So
yeah, I mean, my brother had very white blonde hair when he was a kid, and you've seen my brother now.
I went from red hair to brown hair to one summer of blonde hair back to brown.
Mine switches between like auburn and brown and blonde. It's mostly stayed auburn though for like the past decade.
No, you work at Alabama, not Auburn.
Yeah, Koichi, is good to see him again, but he's like 17, 18 now.
Yep.
Still tiny.
He's just flying to Italy because Jotaro's like, hey, you want to go to Italy to see this thing? Okay, cool, thanks, bye.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the last we'll see of them, basically.
Too busy looking at my starfish.
Yep.
Can't go to Italy.
Bucciarati licking Giorno is a great way to open the series.
It really is because, like, you've got the silliness going on of like, oh, I got this tree that I can grow to get away from you, da 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 da, and you're like, all right, what's our hook though? What are we doing here? And then Bucciarati's on this train, and it's like, oh, perspiration, the best way to find out somebody's lying is when they are perspiring, it tastes different. And he like asked him about Leaky Eye Luca, and Jordan's like, oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, oh, okay, you're not sweating, so I guess we're good. All right, bye. Just gets off the train, and then like Jordan's like, oh god, that was wild. Opens his hand, there's an eye, and then friggin' Bucciarati shows up out of nowhere. It's like, well, now you're sweating, and just licks his face. And I'm like, all right, I guess. What a way to introduce that character.
Really good. What a
also,
way.
Also, this man is licking a 15-year-old's face. By the way, he is 15. He does not look 15. None of them ever look like teenagers. It's hilarious.
I mean, Jotaro is also like 15.
I know. He does not look like a teenager either. At least, Giorno's relatively smaller comparison. Yeah. Like, he's not beefy as heck.
Just a 20-year-old man going up and licking a 15-year-old.
But yeah, it once that happened, you're like, all right, yeah, this is a JoJo series. We're getting there.
Episode 2. In a flashback, it is revealed that Giorno, who was once abused by his stepfather and bullied by other kids, started being treated with respect after saving an injured gangster, giving him a reason to live. Back in the present, Giorno uses gold experience against Bucciarati, which causes his senses to go berserk upon being hit. Bucciarati brings out his own stand, Sticky Fingers, or Zipper Man, a much worse name.
It's such a terrible name.
It's very literal, but also not great. Allow him to create a dimension-distorting zipper to try and escape inside another person, but Giorno tracks him down by turning one of Bucciarati's teeth into a fly. Despite beating Bucciarati in a duel, Giorno decides against finishing him off, instead asking to join his organization so he can take down his boss and take over the city. Pretty self-explanatory.
What an aspiration for a 15-year-old. You know what? I just beat the crap out of you. Can I join you? What if we work
together?
So that we can take over the city? That'd be cool, right?
Very casually.
You are 15, bro.
Hey, some 15-year-olds have passion. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Also worth mentioning that both of these dudes have boob windows. So
that was the fashion in 2001. What are you talking about?
Not only are they fighting, but they also have dueling boob windows.
As you do.
Mm-hmm. Casually.
Episode 3. Telling Bucciarati about his ambition, Giorno convinces Bucciarati to let him join the organization Passione, and Bucciarati leads him to a lieutenant of the gang, Polpo, who is currently sitting in prison. After entering the prison, Giorno is asked to join the gang and is assigned a test in order to see if he is trustworthy, which is to guard a lighter's flame for 24 hours. Giorno accepts and leaves the prison, and in a series of close calls managed to get into his own dorm, only for Koichi, oh hey, Koichi's back, for a brief hot second, to intrude in order to find a stolen passport, not password.
Giorno, you stole my password to get into my laptop.
Giorno again narrowly escapes with the lighter, however the lighter is extinguished accidentally by a janitor cleaning the area. Distraught, Giorno believes he has blown his chance and is surprised when the janitor reignites the lighter. However, Black Sabbath appears. I don't remember what the localized name for Black Sabbath is.
I could look it up.
Shadow Sabbath.
Shadow Sabbath.
Sure. Appears and impales the janitor's soul with an arrow, killing him. Realizing that he has activated Polpo's stand, Giorno braces himself as Black Sabbath lunges at him.
Also, this man is huge.
He's a very big boy.
He is a big boy.
Loves to eat.
I mean, food is delicious when you remember to eat it.
It's true.
But yeah, he is a biggin. Also, like, I don't remember if it was this episode, but there was like a very anxiety-inducing moment where like Giorno has to get past the guards.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was on the way back in because he had to like have the lighter. But lady gave him like a very thorough pat down. I was like, whoa.
Man, please.
Calm down. But apparently, yeah, he likes this janitor and the janitor just gets impaled.
As you do.
As you do. Also, Koichi, like in the dorm. I remember he was funny, but I don't remember what he did.
Stole a password.
No, he stole a passport. And that was Giorno.
Episode number 4. Black Sabbath tries to attack Giorno, revealing itself to be more powerful than Gold Experience, as well as being faster. Luckily, a ray from the sun manages to stun the stand, allowing Giorno to escape its grip, and the young boy understands that Black Sabbath is weakened by sunlight, but powerful in the shades. When Koichi comes, the two teens ally to lure Black Sabbath into the light and annihilate it. Afterward, Giorno convinces Koichi of his righteousness and also makes him keep his secret goal. Koichi thus reassures Jotaro about Giorno and departs from the latter's life. And that is officially it.
Yeah, that's it for Koichi.
For them. The next day, Giorno is welcomed by Polpo into the gang and officially assigned to Bucciarati. But as revenge for the janitor, he secretly turns one of the lieutenant's guns into a banana. Long after Giorno steps out of prison, Polpo finally eats the banana and kills himself with a shot to the head. Meanwhile, Giorno is on his way to meet Bucciarati's gang. The moral of the story, don't eat bananas.
I mean, I like bananas, but not when they're guns.
How many bananas have you ate that are also a gun?
0, and I'd like to keep it that way.
That's good.
This is why you always cut bananas before you eat them.
You never know. You could have a gun in there.
It's true. Like, if you cut the banana, you know if it's a gun or not.
Look, today is Halloween, so it's like all those PSAs about razor blades being in your kids' candies. Check your bananas in case they're a gun.
Exactly.
Also, don't do any Halloween things tonight. If you do, you're a dummy.
Yeah. No. Stay home.
Stop it.
Social distance. Wear your mask. Be good. You can wear a costume and sit in front of the TV and do cool.
Use a catapult if you want to fling candy at kids. I don't care. Just don't literally be face to face with them. That's stupid.
I'm gonna like drop a basket out of my second floor window. Be like, here you go. I'm not giving candy out. Anyway.
Yeah. Episode 5.
Have Loki throw it at him.
Good idea. While Bucciarati explains how Passione functions as a gang, the news of Polpo's death spreads throughout the mob. 2 gangsters, Saleh and Mario Zucchero, take an interest in Polpo's hidden treasure that Bucciarati supposedly knows of. Giorno finally meets his new teammates and manages to make a good impression despite them antagonizing Giorno. Learning about Polpo's death, Bucciarati immediately tells the gang to set sails on their way to Capri in order to retrieve the treasure. An unseen enemy stand ambushes them, making Narancia, Mista, and Fugo disappear without a trace. As Abacchio is reluctant to show his stand to the newbie, Giorno makes the gamble that their opponent's way of attacking isn't fatal and purposefully exposes himself. He is stabbed by the stand and disappears. Thus, Abacchio is free to summon his Moody Blues.
Moody Blues, or as he is known in the localization, Moody Jazz.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. It gets the point across.
Totally.
Is this the one where they made Giorno drink?
Probably.
I think it was this one. And also Narancia on the boat was like, I got a new boombox. This is awesome. I'm gonna play music really loud. And it was like, please
shut
stop. But I think this was that episode that made him drink that.
It sounds about right.
They're like in the restaurant fighting over everything, as they do.
I don't remember if he actually drinks it or not.
I don't remember, but
I don't remember if he turns into Lyoto Machida for that moment or not.
What?
Lyoto Machida was an MMA fighter.
Uh-huh.
And he famously would drink his own pee.
Why?
Just because.
Sounds like a mistake.
You're not wrong. Episode number 6.
Mm-hmm. Not a boat.
Yes. Bacchio's past is revealed.
Yes, he was a cop.
Once a policeman corrupted by his surroundings, his moral downfall culminated in the murder of his partner in the police by the same criminal who had been bribing him. Dishonored, Abacchio became desperate until he met Bucciarati. And the President, Bucciarati, and Abacchio begin to investigate the enemy's power, using Moody Blues' power to reenact any event from the past to discover how the enemy works. Although they discover that the enemy can deflate people and is probably hiding in the pipes, they cannot find him. However, Abacchio sacrifices himself and uses blood to make Bucciarati understand that there is a second deflated boat covering the first one.
Yep. Bucciarati
thus sinks his yacht on purpose, forcing Zucchero to reveal himself and easily defeats him.
So I think it's funny that like when he stopped being a cop, he's like, well, time to have a purple star on top of my head and also just dress like a weirdo. Is this also the episode where we get the torture dance?
I don't know.
Or is that the
if
next
it
one?
Is.
How does the next synopsis start?
Well, let's discuss the next synopsis.
Okay.
After Mario Zucchero is defeated, Bucciarati's team learns that he's told his yet unseen partner that they are headed to Capri to retrieve the treasure. As Bucciarati took a long curve to avoid being seen directly heading toward Capri, the group expects to fight another enemy on the island, but Giorno proposes to head there first and seek out their foe. Near the marina, Giorno calls for the enemy through a civilian while Mista lays in wait and ready to fight. So I guess it would have been last episode.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy, Saleh, falls for the bait, and despite some mishaps, Mista manages to shoot Saleh in the leg thanks to his Sex Pistols' power to redirect bullets. Mista pursues the enemy alone up to a starting truck, leaving Giorno behind. Also, Sex Pistols is just 6 bullets.
6 bullets.
Again, not as good.
Nope. So since we didn't get to talk about it, the torture dance is a very, very famous thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was trippy as heck how they animated it.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really fun. It's set to a song called Canzone Preferite. And the same guy who does the second opening for this does the vocals. But yeah, we got the whole line of vocal percussion on a whole nother level coming from my mind. And we're Golden Wind. It's very
clever.
Good. It's a great song. It took me a second to be like, what is happening? But yeah, they just like put like a fish hook through his eyelid, and also like his head is zippered off, and they let like the sun come in directly to his eye while they're doing this dance. It's pretty intense.
It's a torture dance for a reason.
Yeah, like the colors of it, like the whole thing's just very surreal, and it was pretty entertaining. But yeah, this is the episode where we get to learn more about Mista and how he rolls, which whoo buddy.
Well, that's this next episode.
Yep.
Where we get Mista's past revealed.
Da-da-da.
Mista was once a simple teenager enjoying life until he met his destiny and stopped a gang rape, revealing his outstanding gunfighting skill. In the present, Mista shoots Sally, who is hidden atop the truck, yet Sally's stand Craftwork, which I don't remember again what this is localized as, arts and crafts.
That's not terrible.
Not terrible. Can immobilize objects with respects to a given reference point. Thus, Mista is at a tremendous disadvantage as bullets cannot penetrate Sally's skin while he can fire the bullets back at Mista. After a back and forth, Mista is left with one bullet and wasted. However, he only tricked Sally into dropping his guard and has Sex Pistols hijack Sally's own bullet, which hits Sally right in the first bullet, still locked inside Sally's skull. The bullet is pushed inside the brain, and Sally is defeated, but alive. As you do.
Yeah, casually.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't really the first real big thing with this, but like we find out that Mista basically has no sense of self-preservation whatsoever.
None.
And it's just like, all right, I gotta do this. I gotta take this guy down. Well, time to just fling myself into it.
This boy has 9 lives. He is a cat.
He is a cat.
He does.
He good. Also, voiced by Sean Chiplock, who does a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very different than most voices that we hear from Sean Chiplock, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did a fantastic job.
Episode number 9. Having succeeded in coming to Capri safely, Team Bucciarati meets up with the Capo Pericolo. We'll go with that. Polpo's treasure, which was hidden inside a restroom's walls, is examined and deemed great enough. Thus, Bucciarati is officially made into a capo of the gang. However, Pericolo then presents Trish, the daughter of the boss. Born from a long past tryst, Trish is now the target of a rogue team of stand user assassins who hope to get their hands on her to get to the boss, and Bucciarati's team must now bodyguard her. Later, Narancia is sent out of the hideout to buy groceries, but is easily found by Formaggio, one of the said assassins. Formaggio's little feet, which we'll learn here very shortly what that is localized to, tiny feet, sure, claws at Narancia, who unleashes his Aerosmith to fire at the car, which they just...
Little bomber.
Again, not as good.
No. I mean, Aerosmith is an atrocious band. They're really, really bad. And I think that I've said that on the podcast before. God, Aerosmith is terrible, but like the name for it is much better.
Yes, you're just living on the edge.
How dare you? How dare you? The only good thing that ever came from Aerosmith is the Aerosmith roller coaster at Disney World.
No, the other two good things of Aerosmith are Revolution X and the time they used Don't Want to Miss a Thing in Saints Row 4.
Okay, yes, fair point. You got me.
Well, let's get back in the saddle again here. Formaggio then uses his power to shrink himself and others to hide and wait for Narancia to shrink, discovering at the same time that Bucciarati's team is bodyguarding the boss's daughter.
So Trish initially shows up as like a janitor, like cleaning a bathroom.
Yeah.
And
in disguise.
I can't remember if Hugo or Mista, whoever says something to her, she's like, all right, you want to go? And like wants to fight him immediately. I'm like, whoa. But yeah, she's ready to go.
You might say she's spicy.
Oh. I love that they also distinctly give Narancia like, all right, you need to go here, but you need to make sure that you follow this route because we don't want you to be tracked. He's like, got it. And he just completely forgets everything.
He blows it.
Super duper blows it. Which,
Good.
like...
Rip their groceries.
And their rental car.
Yep. Episode number 10. The fight between Narancia and Formaggio continues. Having shrunken himself and hiding inside Narancia's pocket, Formaggio patiently waits for his foe to shrink. However, Narancia understands what's happening to him and to to stop Narancia from calling for help, Formaggio must cut the wire of the phone Narancia uses. The boy realizes that Formaggio is nearby and uses an unknown ability to track Formaggio. Running away, Formaggio is relentlessly tracked to a drain. A flashback then explains how the Hitman team, dissatisfied with their pay, had 2 of their members gruesomely executed for daring to pry into the boss's past.
That one's intense.
Yeah. In the present, Formaggio now understands that Aerosmith is tracking him because of the CO2 he releases. Using a swarm of rats, Formaggio tries to hide, but Narancia manages to identify him and shoot. Although he is hit, Formaggio grows back to his original size, while Narancia and Aerosmith have become so tiny that they are too weak at the moment. Yeah, I think like the dudes who get like executed are like put into like an art piece or something.
Yeah, so what it is, and also fun fact about this because I looked into it a little bit more. They might potentially be like some of the first gay characters in JoJo.
Huh.
But they were a team on the crew, and they were kidnapped together. And so what happens is that the one gets like cut into many, many, many pieces in front of the other guy. And so the other guy, instead of like watching his potential lover just get like brutalized, takes the gag that is in his mouth and just like chokes himself to death with it. Which is intense. But then the pieces of this guy are they're encased in like this glassy looking material and sent individually to the group. So when you lay them all next to each other, it forms his body.
Right.
It's messed up.
Just a smidge.
I don't know if they sent the other guy, but he's died too.
Yes. Episode 11. Narancia is now shrunk to the point where he cannot do significant damage to Formaggio. Failing to hide, the assassin stomps him under his foot and resumes his interrogation, but Narancia keeps silent. Narancia's sad story is also revealed. Once a street urchin, not a sea urchin, a street urchin, and loyal to his little band of thieves, Narancia was one day framed for a violent aggression by his comrade and was thrown into reform school for a year, only to be shunned when he got out. Ill and alone, Narancia escaped his squalor thanks to Fugo and Bucciarati, to whom he is now loyal to. And the now an exasperated Formaggio throws Narancia inside a bottle with a spider in it. All right. Yeah, all right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
And manages to learn where Trish is kept. However, Narancia reverses the situation by making his own car explode thanks to Aerosmith's tracer bullets, grows back to normal size, and then devastates the entire city to prevent the assassin from fleeing. Finishing Formaggio off, Narancia returns to the hideout where Bucciarati receives the boss's second orders. He then sends Fugo, Abbacchio, and Giorno to Pompeii to retrieve a key.
Man, I think they might have shown the flashback at some point. I'm not sure, but there's one part where Fugo is like teaching Narancia basic math. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. But he's also terrible at it.
Yes.
But it makes sense since he has not been in school. But yeah, sad backstories and spiders. Woof.
Ugh.
Lots of fire.
Episode number 12. Giorno, Fugo, and Bacchio arrive to the famous ruins of Pompeii. The very famous ruins.
I love Pompeii. Well, I've never been there, but I like reading about it.
As the trio is walking toward the dog mosaic, Fugo sees a mirror in the new enemy in the reflection. It is Illuso, one of the assassins from La Squadra Esecuzione, which I'm guessing
Man
is
in the
just
mirror.
The execution squad.
Yeah, probably.
As Illuso approaches, Fugo warns his teammates who cannot see the enemy, and Fugo is suddenly snatched into the mirror world, confronting Illuso in a stand, Man in the Mirror. Or as the localized would call him, Mirror Man, or as the cool people will call him, the Girl in the Mirror.
Yeah!
It's a very specific reference.
It is a very specific reference, but yeah, Man in the Mirror is the original name.
Fugo then tries to summon a stand, Purple Haze, which is localized to Purple Smoke.
I would have gone with like Purple Fog or something.
What about Purple Vape?
No.
He tries to summon a stand, Purple Haze, but the stand is kept out of the mirror, interrupting Giorno and Bacchio's search for Fugo. A flashback exposes Fugo's past.
What?
As a well-born child with high intellect, Fugo was so pressured into academic excellence that it took a toll on his sanity. Entering university at age 13, he finally snapped and beat up a professor to defend himself, but was then expelled and then disowned, eventually meeting Bucciarati and being swayed to his side. Fugo tries his best to fight Man in the Mirror indirectly, but Illuso easily bests him while Purple Haze's actions cause one of the capsules on his fist to crack, revealing its ability to release a deadly flesh-eating virus. Abacchio decides to prioritize the objective, but Giorno insists on helping Fugo, and Abacchio leaves Fugo to his fate. Meanwhile, Illuso approaches Fugo for a coup de grace. Or a coup de grace.
So it's worth mentioning that Abacchio just does not like Giorno, does not trust him. It's like,
Yes.
Why is this newbie here with me? This is ridiculous. I've also been trying to figure out since we started this how Fugo's pants work. He's got all those holes in them.
It's fashion.
Is it though?
It's fashion.
Is it though?
Mm-hmm.
Also, his stand is actually quite interesting. Like it drools all the time,
mm-hmm.
and just kind of like wanders around. I don't know. It's an interesting stand that I wish we got more information on.
It's as if it's walking in a haze.
Oh my god. Because this is basically the only time we really see Purple Haze do anything.
Yeah. We'll get into why that is later on, but yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 13, the battle against Illuso and Man in the Mirror continues. Abacchio reaches the key, but Illuso has detected and followed him, neglecting to kill Fugo. Abacchio sees Illuso inside of a mirror as well and understands the situation. Tricking Illuso into forcing a disguised Moody Blues to enter the mirror world and gaining the upper hand, Illuso nonetheless uses a piece of glass to trap both stand and user half inside the mirror, disabling them both. Desperate, Abacchio cuts off his hand to prevent Moody Blues on the... They're just going with the English thing here. That's weird. Or is that... No, that's... I don't know.
Moody Jazz is the English.
Okay, I got confused. Confused myself. Cuts off his own hand to prevent Moody Blues on the other side to bring back the key to Giorno's position, and Illuso attacks Giorno. However, Giorno has infected himself with Purple Haze's virus, exposing Illuso, who must flee into the real world. Nonetheless, Giorno has also turned a brick into a snake, casually, allowing Fugo to guess Illuso's position thanks to the snake's heat sense. Purple Haze then dissolves Illuso. For his part, Giorno manages to save himself by using the snake's blood as an anti-venom, greatly impressing his teammates. The team has acquired the key.
I also forgot to mention it while we were talking about his weird outfit, but it is canon. Archie has confirmed it that Fugo only wears thongs.
Again, early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's fashion.
His thong the thong.
You really love that Cisco song.
Interesting that he's like, you know what? I need to confirm what kind of underwear this man wears. But yeah, so Purple Haze is pretty brutal.
Yes.
And like I said, this is basically the only time we see it do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a key now. We don't know what we're going to do with this key, but we have a key.
Probably open a lock.
And Abacchio's like, all right, kid, you're good.
I guess you're all right, kid. Episode 13 and a half. It's a recap episode.
What?
Episode 14. Discovering new instructions from the boss engraved on the key, the group now heads to Napoli. Is it Napoli or Napoli's? Napoli? I don't know. I don't speak Italian.
Neither. How you spell it?
Naples. Either way, they're heading to that train station. Near the Florence-bound express, Bucciarati discovers a turtle whose shell fits with the key, grabs it, and rushes inside the train to his team, evading two new enemies that have been following him. Prosciutto and his junior Pesci. Joe Pesci.
Oh,
Perplexed by Bucciarati's sudden disappearance, the pair decides to stay on the train. Unbeknownst to the assassins, the small turtle acts as a stealthy shelter for Team Bucciarati thanks to its stand ability. The turtle also is just called Coco Jumbo, but they don't never call him that.
They never call him that. I wish
Is
they
a
did, because
shame.
what a good name.
Also, the turtle has a stand,
Yes.
which is called Mr. President.
What? Why?
I don't know. It just is. That's what it's called.
Apparently it's called T-Rex at one point.
You know, call it whatever you want.
Interesting.
They hide in the corner of the driver's cabin. To draw them out, Prosciutto summons his stand, the Grateful Dead, which is localized to the Thankful Death, or in the video game, Thankful Dead.
Yep.
weird. I mean, at least they're getting close with that one compared to some of the others, but also like weird.
Yeah.
It accelerates the aging of the train's passengers, sweeping the wagons while Pesky stands guard near the driver's cabin. Affected by the aging, the group discovers that ice can slow it down, then sends out the relatively unaffected Mista out to fight the enemy, because of course. However, when Mista tries to activate the air conditioner, he is ambushed and is hooked by Pesky's fishing rod stand, Beach Boy, which is localized to, I mean, this is a fishing rod. Fisherman!
Fisherman.
Sure, why not? Episode 15. The battle between Mista and Pesky begins. However, having hooked Mista by the hand in Beach Boy's line, being unbreakable as well as able to reflect energy into the catch, Pesky seems to have the advantage and tries to reel Mista in, making the hook draw closer to the gunman's heart. Nonetheless, Mista turns the table on his foe by firing Sex Pistols and destroying his ice, making Pesky panic and unsummon Beach Boy. Mista confronts Pesky and almost shoots him, but Prosciutto, disguised as an old man, takes Mista's hand and disables him. Lecturing Pesky once again on his team's fighting spirit, Prosciutto shoots Mista in the head and goes back to the cabin. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Prosciutto and Pesky eventually find the turtle but are attacked by Bucciarati as Mista has survived thanks to Sex Pistols and informed his leader of the situation. However, Bucciarati's fight exhausts him and the aging effect takes hold, forcing the capo to throw himself out of the express train with Prosciutto and hopefully taking him out. Yeah, Mista gets shot in the head at one point.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, it's over for him.
Well, little did we know.
Little did we know.
My man gets shot in the head and then he just bounces back the next day like, I'm fine. It's all good.
Yeah, totally fine.
No
Everything's good. It's like, what the heck?
No worries, dog.
He would say that. Oh, what a dude.
What a dude. Episode 16. The battle against Prosciutto and Pesky continues. Bucciarati has thrown himself out of the train with Prosciutto in his arms in the hopes of killing the assassin. Pesky intervenes to grab Prosciutto, but Bucciarati returns Beach Boy's reflecting power against his enemy, zipping out Prosciutto's hand. Prosciutto seemingly falls to his death while Bucciarati is hooked. Pesky realizes the situation and despairs, but when he sees that Prosciutto has put himself inside the machinery of the train and maintained the Grateful Dead despite his wound, he is inspired by the example and changes into a cold-blooded killer. Pesky tries to kill Bucciarati, who is forced to enter the train again and separate himself into many pieces to evade Beach Boy. However, he cuts his heartbeat and respiration to do so. Bucciarati almost dies, but Pesky finally loses patience and drops his guard to stop the train. The two confront each other one last time, and Bucciarati wins, pummeling Pesky into a river. The two assassins are dead. However, it seems that Trish is manifesting for the first time her stand power, and Malone, the assassin, is on the team's trail.
The one dude looks like a pineapple?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I remember there was a lot of ice in this fight.
Ice. Baby.
Do.
Yes.
But yeah, and the heartbeat thing, I was like, oh hey, JoJo's done that before.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, like,
No one gets shot in the head this time.
He got shot in the head. My man got shot in the head, and he's just like, okay. They don't do anything. Okay. Yep.
That's a thing.
As you do.
Episode 17. In the express train, Malone uses Bucciarati's blood sample on a woman he's deemed really incompatible with the former to create a stand homunculus thanks to his baby face. Not like his actual face, but that's his stand.
His stand is called baby face.
Which is also just localized to baby head.
Yep.
Because sure. Teaching him how to kill Bucciarati and capture Trish before sticking him on the team. Meanwhile, Team Bucciarati is forced to stay on a parking lot and tries to steal a car. Giorno, carrying Coco Jumbo containing Trish and Bucciarati, is temporarily isolated from the team. It is at this moment that Babyface sneaks inside the turtle and turns both Trish and Bucciarati into cubes. Then takes away Giorno's throat and foot and an eye. Yeah. Crippling and suffocating. Giorno is at first utterly overwhelmed by Babyface, but then realizes from witnessing its cube power that he can shape objects into individual organs and heal. Managing to retake the turtle, Giorno outsmarts Babyface and fakes having his hand cut off, turning the decoy hand into a piranha, devouring its way out of Babyface.
You know who should have been in that turtle resting? Mista, who got shot in the head.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Jesus.
You're not wrong. Episode 18. Now having the advantage against babyface Giorno then makes short work of the homunculus despite its physical growth. With his victory, Bucciarati and Trish are also returned to normal. The assassin Giacchio... Too many Italian names that I don't remember how to pronounce. Because they only show up for like 2 episodes. It's like, that's not enough to remember.
Yeah, no.
Arrives to the parking lot sometime after only seeing a bunch of stolen cars. Although Malone assures on the phone that he can track the group again, he is suddenly killed by a venomous snake sent by Giorno. The assassins have seemingly lost trace of their target, but Risotto Nero, their leader, has managed to find another trail. Meanwhile, the group discovers by rewinded Moody Blues that Perocolo has set up further instructions for them. They must retrieve a disc hidden near Venice's train station to read how to deliver Trish. Moreover, Perocolo has shot himself, and the boss is now waiting Trish's arrival. Giorno and Mista are sent together to retrieve the disc, but the duo is then confronted by Giacchio, who thanks to computer analysis on Pericolo's computer has managed to discover their destination. Giacchio's stand White Album, which, take a guess what he's localized to? Of course, white ice.
Sure.
Is a deadly stand of cryogenic power which can kill through simple exposure and makes an invincible ice suit around Giacchio. Unable to shake him off, Giorno decides to drive his car into the sea. As you do.
Yeah, like, what a casual solution. All right, crap. This dude is invincible. He's got this ice power. You know, I'll just drive my car into the sea. Sure. Who let this 15-year-old drive?
He did.
What a mistake.
He was like, yes, I will do this. I can drive.
Didn't they even ask him if he had a license at some point?
They should have, if not.
They definitely should have.
Episode 19. The battle against Giacchio continues. Having driven into the sea, Giorno hopes to slow down White Album's freezing ability with salt water and tells Mista to get away while he stalls Giacchio. When Giacchio frees the sea to demonstrate his power, Mista and Giorno cooperate to create a glass sled from frozen car parts.
That part is so cool.
Allowing Mista to approach the shore. Then, turning the grass back into car parts, they manage to drive a screw into Giacchio's helmet and stun him. Surprisingly, Mista decides to fight Giacchio, discovers an air hole on White Album's neck area, and shoots it. But Giacchio activates his technique, White Album gently weeps, to create a barrier of frozen air, rebounding the bullet back at Mista. Now once all aground, Mista confronts Giacchio again. Giorno sprays his blood in the air, exposing the weaknesses in the frozen air. Mista is also reminded how Bucciarati helped him out of prison and enlisted him in the gang. Giacchio then simply shuts his air hole using the frozen air as oxygen reserve. Nonetheless, Mista manages to impale Giacchio on the broken lamppost and tries to shoot him further. A bloody shootout ensues, but Giacchio freezes his own blood into pillars, taking the advantage. At last, Giorno intervenes to save Mista and deals the finishing blow to Giacchio. Mista and Giorno have won the battle and awakened a great respect for one another.
Yo, that scene was super cool with like the sun rising in the back. Oh, that was beautiful.
With Giorno's theme playing.
Yeah, like, oh my God, that was just like so hype. And then they end it with like Narancia thinking that Giorno's blowing Mista. Remember when he's healing him?
Yep.
But God, that scene was so beautiful with the theme. We haven't even mentioned that. Giorno's theme rules.
It's very good.
Rules. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that scene. Also, somehow, again, Mista survives being completely brutalized here.
Yep. Episode 20. Team Bucciarati have acquired the boss's last orders. They must now hand to San Giorgio Maggiore Church, south of Venice, and one of them must accompany Trish to the top of the belfry, without weapons or communication tools, while the rest wait inside the boat. It is a unique opportunity to approach the boss, so Giorno gives a brooch to Bucciarati to act as a tracker. On their way to the belfry, Trish finally shows nervousness at the idea of meeting her estranged father, but Bucciarati does his best to reassure her. Suddenly, Trish disappears with only her hand remaining in Bucciarati's palm. He thus realizes with horror that the boss wanted to kill Trish personally. Bucciarati's past is revealed once the ordinary son of a fisherman. Bucciarati's life took a turn to the worse when his father was gunned down by drug dealers when he saw an illegal trade happening. Bucciarati then had to kill them to protect his father and consequently had to join Passione for protection. Soon he discovered that Passione itself was the origin of the drugs. Utterly disgusted, Bucciarati decides to kill the boss and gives chase. But when Bucciarati hides in a columbarium, Columbarium to ambush the boss, the latter somehow knows where he is. Bucciarati tries to attack, but his every move is foiled. As he sees a reflection of himself, the boss reveals his King Crimson and explains his power to erase time and punches straight through Bucciarati's torso, which they localized to Emperor Crimson, which totally works.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, Bucciarati's got a big old hole in his heart or his chest.
Big hole in his chest, like, woo, buddy. That's
pretty bad.
That's not good. Yeah, I kept flipping between them whenever I was talking about him because I would forget which one was the actual name of him.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Which is what's the band's name?
The band's name is King Crimson.
Yes.
That's how I should have remembered that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Anyway,
need to remember your like 70s and 80s prog rock.
You know what? If there's one thing I do know, it's 70s and 80s prog rock. Come on.
It's true. Episode 21. Back to the boat. Giorno and his teammates wait for Bucciarati's return, but when events seem to have happened without anyone remembering performing them, Giorno rushes to the church to help Bucciarati. Meanwhile, the capo gets punched through the stomach by King Crimson, but amazingly continues the fight. King Crimson erases time again, effortlessly avoiding Sticky Finger's punch, and lands a karate chop and splits Bucciarati's torso in two. However, the boss is then sucked into the brooch by the brooch Giorno has given life to. Bucciarati wins enough time to grasp the gist of King Crimson's power and tries to get rid of the turtle, but when he tries to crawl up the stairs with Trish, King Crimson blocks his path, having forecasted the attack and avoided too. Fortunately, Bucciarati tricks King Crimson into letting him create a zipper to the ceiling, and he escapes, meeting Giorno. Confusion ensues as Giorno realizes Bucciarati is physically dead, but he continues moving as if he was alive. With too many witnesses, the boss decides to retreat. Out of the church, Bucciarati explains what has happened and gives his team the chance to join him in his fight against the boss. The team is frightened, but all save Fugo manage to gather the resolve to follow their leader. Meanwhile, the operative Squalo receives the order to hunt the rebels. Say goodbye to Fugo. That is the last you will see of him this series, except for the end. But like
the very end, you see
in terms of like the
him.
modern timeline, yeah, that's it.
He's gone.
He's gone. Yeah, so Bucciarati's dead.
He's
alive, but is able to move. He's a zombie.
He's basically a zombie, which I don't think Giorno really fully realized what was going on. I know that he knew something was weird because he like impaled his hand on something and didn't even feel it, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird."
And like there was like a cut on him or something. And there was like no blood coming out or anything. I think he also like touched him at some point. He was like, "Oh, you're cold to the touch. Weird."
Yeah, I don't think he like.
He doesn't understand it quite yet, but like he realizes something's very wrong.
Right. But yeah, our man's just zombie Jesus going on here.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, Fugo's gone.
Narancia was originally staying on the coast, and then he swam towards the boat because he realized that he needed to be with them.
Yep. So now we have most of the gang all together.
Bye, Fugo. We hardly knew ye.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Also, your stand was potentially super overpowered.
It's like, okay, we gotta get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
Episode 21 and a half. It's another recap episode. And that's the end of the first half of JoJo Golden Wind.
Mm-hmm.
So now we go to episode 22. Still in Venice, Team Bucciarati goes to a restaurant to rest and decides their next course of action. Sure that they can learn about the boss's identity to ambush and bypass his King Crimson, the team learns from Trish that the boss has met his mother in Sardinia, and thus the island is where they can learn about him. Narancia is suddenly attacked by a shark.
Yeah, I didn't watch this episode.
Yeah, these are the episodes you don't know a thing about. A shark stand named Clash, which rips off his tongue. Unfortunately, Clash. I don't know. This isn't what is Clash's localized name.
I can't look that up.
I'm going to Crush.
I can't look up the shark.
I'm going to look it up. It's fine. Unfortunately, Clash can teleport between liquids and remains unseen by all but Narancia. Moreover, when Giorno saves him from suffocating and gives him a new tongue, Narancia begins to only tell lies, giving his teammates falsehoods. Indeed, a duo of Passione operatives, Tiziano and Squalo, are ambushing the group, using Tiziano's talking head, which is talking mouth, to force Narancia to lie and bait them into watery places where Clash can ambush them. Narancia narrowly prevents his team from staying in the bathrooms too long, and they all leave but Giorno. Talking Head cuts Narancia's hand, but when Giorno approaches, Narancia uses Aerosmith to shoot a pipe and heat it with incendiary ammo and cauterize himself. Giorno understands Narancia is under the effect of some power, but the damaged pipe leaks water, creating a puddle from which Clash emerges to tear at Giorno's throat. Yeah, you didn't watch these episodes because they were sharks. And I was like, hey, you should probably not watch these episodes.
Yeah, you told me beforehand. I was like, nope.
Yep.
I'm out.
So you were gone until literally episode 24. So yeah, that's basically kind of what happens. Narancia like lies to them. And they're like, why are you lying to us? Stop being weird. We're going to leave now. And he's like, no, you can't, but I'm also not telling you anything. And Giorno's the only one's like, something's weird here. I guess I'll believe you. Episode 23. Tiziano and Squallow's ambush on the heroes continue. Clash has managed to bite into Giorno's throat and has disabled him, dragging him along in the puddles while evading Aerosmith's bullets. Nonetheless, the duo are aware that Narancia can detect CO2 and thus track Giorno. Although Squallow baits Narancia into opening the way to the sewers, Giorno willingly lets himself get shot so that the tracer bullets can emit CO2 from him. Thus, Narancia is able to chase Clash until it is cornered in the kitchen room. You know, in the kitchen room. Yeah. Despite the leaking gas preventing him from shooting, Narancia slashes at Clash with Aerosmith's propellers. Tiziano intervenes and uses Talking Head to bait the team into the kitchen room and trick Mista into setting the gas on fire by firing his gun.
Of course he did.
An explosion ensues, and Giorno uses the opportunity to tell him to find the user and gives him a brooch before Clash can take him. Narancia listens and gives chase to Tiziano and Squallow until he successfully finds them. Despite Tiziano's sacrifice, Narancia finally kills both the enemies and finds Giorno barely alive. Team Bucciarati subsequently crosses the sea to an airport in order to fly to Sardinia.
I didn't see either of those episodes.
So yeah, Giorno gets shot a bunch and then nearly dies, and then Mista does something dumb.
Of course he does.
Nearly ruins it all for everyone.
Of course he
until
does.
they're able to win. That's basically the episode.
What a dude.
Episode 24. Having managed to escape Venice, Team Bucciarati now heads to the Venezia Tessera airport and steals a passenger plane to fly to Sardinia. During the preparations, a Passione operative named Carne confronts them, but Mista seemingly makes short work of him, only leaving him the time to briefly summon his stand. Giorno touches him and confirms his death. Once the plane is up in the air, Trish and Bucciarati discuss their situation, and Trish mentions Cala di Volpe, a small Sardinian bay in which her mother met the boss, who was a local. Meanwhile, Giorno and Mista discover some of Carne's fingers, which got into the fridge of the plane without explanation. Giorno then discovers that his right arm is being absorbed by an enemy stand, Notorious B.I.G.
Yep.
Which is localized to Notorious Chase. Not as good.
Not as good.
Should have named it like Tupac.
Tupac.
Carne's stand, which is activated after his death, can devour all energy and matter to grow and is automatically attracted to the fastest object in the vicinity. Before Giorno can make it get out of the plane, he loses both arms, and Mista and Narancia are heavily injured. Of course, Mista's injured again.
Of course he is.
The situation
When is he not?
You're not wrong. The situation is extremely dire, as half the team is gravely injured with no healers available. Yet, as Bucciarati goes to the cockpit with the injured and the turtle to inform Abacchio of what happened, Trish is left alone with Notorious B.I.G., which has managed to catch up to the plane. Trapped, Trish then sees that Giorno has left a brooch, with which a brand new hand is growing. As you do.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, Joseph Joestar was not in this plane, so they're not going to crash. But it doesn't mean anything is that things are good.
No, things are definitely not okay.
Cue up the Mista injury tracker. I think we're up to like 4 or 5 now.
No kidding. We should have run a tracker while we were doing this.
Should have. Episode 25. Trish is trapped with Notorious B.I.G., but must find a way to protect Giorno's growing hand and herself at the same time. Using the automatic reclining seats, Trish manages to go past the enemy stand and perch the hand. However, Notorious B.I.G. suddenly attacks her because of the droplets of drink slipping on her boot. Trish is nonetheless saved by her newly awakened stand, Spice Girl, which I think they localized as Spicy Lady?
Spicy Lady. Which isn't terrible.
Yeah. Spice Girl's a really good name for a stand, though.
Is a really, really good, especially because when she punches, she yells "wannabe."
Yep.
Perfect.
Spice Girl can soften things. Using the softening, Spice Girl manages to bait Notorious B.I.G. into attacking a clock without damaging it, and seemingly destroys it. However, a tiny part of Notorious B.I.G. reaches the engines, and feeds on the energy in them and grows into a big size. Trish again saves the situation by softening the cockpit and then separate it from the crashing plane. I guess the plane does crash, sorry.
Yep.
The spirit of Joseph Joestar lives on.
He's not dead.
I mean, by 2000, by this, he might be gone by this point.
Oh, that's tragic.
I don't know. But he was real old, 99, so.
He was real old.
She softens the plane and separates it from the crashing plane, acting as a makeshift parachute. Finally, the group manages to reach Sardinia, and Giorno has regained his power. For his part, Notorious B.I.G. will become, in time, a sea monster roaming the waters near Sardinia.
Casually.
Yes. Meanwhile, the boss discovers the existence of a clue to his past in Sardinia. Sensing that Trish is alive, he decides to personally go to his native island. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, Spice Girl. Makes things all like to like a bouncy house.
Which is wild. What an ability.
True that. Episode 26. Back in 1965, a baby boy was born from a woman who just spent 2 years in prison surrounded by women. This unique baby was then raised in Sardinia by a priest, grew into a young man, and eventually met Donatella Una. However, the priest discovered that his foster son had kept his mother prisoner and hidden under his room. The boy disappeared, but not before killing the priest and burning his home to erase all traces of him. Back to the present, a teen named Vinegar Doppio comes to Sardinia in order to reach the Costa Smeralda and watch it. Revealed to share his body with the boss himself, Doppio manages to learn that Risotto is near, but is nevertheless surprised by the assassin. Risotto quickly sees that Doppio is a stand user and as he looked at the distant Aerosmith, but this is a really weird sentence. Sure, they find each other. Aerosmith's there as well, just seeing stuff.
Yep.
A fight ensues, during which Risotto makes razors and nail appear in Doppio's body before disappearing. The boss then communicates with Doppio and tells him to approach the assassin, granting a part of King Crimson's power to help him.
So we learn a lot here.
Yes.
One, a nice touch is that Doppio means like double.
Mm-hmm.
So, but also Doppio has the whole like phone answering tick. He like picks up a frog at one point and answers it like a phone.
He picks up a lot of weird things and answers them like a phone.
Yeah, he does that throughout the series, but he picks up a lot of things. It's pretty entertaining. But yeah, the diddle thing is pretty. It's pretty fantastic. Another thing worth noting: Risotto looks wild.
Big goth energy.
Big goth energy. Like the dude's got like a weird like jester hair hat thing, and he's got like he kind of looks like in terms of outfit like he was designed by Nomura.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he has like Final Fantasy vibes going on.
You're not wrong.
But yeah, whoa, he's intense. But I had to mention the whole double thing and also the phone thing, because the phone thing, it got me a few times. I
really
was
good.
Like, laughing so hard. Kudos to the voice actor for him, because he nailed that doodle-doo.
Mm-hmm. Episode 27. The fight between Doppio and Risotto Nero continues. Using Epitaph's power to predict the future, Doppio manages to hit close to the now invisible Risotto and extract scissors safely from his throat. Doppio then guesses that Risotto is using magnetism to create the razors from his body's iron. Thus, he discovers Risotto's location and severs the assassin's foot. However, Risotto recomposes himself, harasses Doppio with scalpels made from iron in the rocks, and takes so much iron from Doppio that the boy suffers from anemia. As Doppio is tricked into throwing his scalpels in the wrong direction, Risotto reveals himself and creates a razor to cut Doppio's head. However, having guessed that Doppio and the boss are split personalities and seemingly having defeated his enemy, Risotto is nonetheless suddenly shot down by Aerosmith. The boss then appears, having revealed that he purposely told Doppio to throw the knives at Team Brucerati on the beach, using his anemia to hide from Aerosmith's CO2 radar. Outplayed, Risotto collapses. This also doesn't mention, but Risotto's stand is called Metallica.
Yep.
So this episode is literally titled King Crimson versus Metallica.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, Risotto clearly could have ended this series very early, but then was just like, oh, I win, easy, and then, oops, just kidding. You don't.
Rip.
You goofed. Ripperoni and pepperoni.
You had one chance, buddy.
And you failed.
You failed. Oh, pepperoni sounds good right now.
Sure does. Episode 28. Having been attacked, Bucciarati and Narancia decide to scale the cliffs to check on the enemy, while Abacchio rewinds the past with Moody Blues. Meanwhile, the boss orders Risotto to give him back his blood, but the assassin attempts a last-ditch attack, which fails because King Crimson erases time. Risotto thus dies. The boss now has to escape from Bucciarati and Narancia, but who notice that someone else was here and proceed to search the area. The two eventually find someone, but it is revealed that it is a boy that someone has drained the blood of. Meanwhile, Abacchio approaches a group of kids and helps them retrieve a ball. Unfortunately, the boss was hidden among the kids and kills Abacchio.
Yep.
Abacchio subsequently finds himself in the afterlife, where his former partner assures him that at the end he upheld the morals he had. Team Bucciarati all grieve for Abacchio, but must leave the beach. However, Giorno sees that Abacchio is holding a piece of rock, eventually discovering a negative of the boss's face and fingerprints that Moody Blues has created. Abacchio has fulfilled his mission.
Yeah, wow, this was painful. He just
I'm gonna have these kids with the ball. Oh God, I'm dead.
Dead.
Shocking.
Heckin' dead.
Heckin' dead. Ripperoni Abacchio.
Yeah. They just kind of left him there, so I was like, oh God, somebody's gonna like come across the beach at some point and see like this body.
Whose body is this?
Yikes.
Ay. Episode 28.5. It's called Destino. It's all about Tetsuya Naito. There's also a recap episode. Episode 29. After having acquired a mold of the boss's faces and fingerprints, Team Bucciarati research online if they correspond to anyone. They just put it under a scanner. Like, does anyone online know who this is? There's going on all the message boards in 2001. Their efforts catch the attention of an unidentified man who calls them and convinces them that they are allies in the fight against the boss, whose name is Diavolo. Showing them the arrow and explaining the origins of stands, this unknown man claims that the arrow can unlock another power that could beat King Crimson. Interested, Bucciarati agrees to meet with the man in the Colosseum in Rome. However, Diavolo learns that the team is up to something and thus calls forth his worst enforcers, Cioccolata and Secco. Too many C's in that name. Cioccolata, there you go. Too many C's. There's like 3 C's in there.
Too many.
That's too many C's. Cioccolata being a murderous surgeon and Secco his literal human pet. When the team arrive at the coastal village, they and the whole village begin to be affected by a strange mold that grows when the victim goes down. It is Green Day. Everyone is now an American idiot. This is localized to green tea.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not as good.
What if they just called it Green Night?
They could have done that.
Cioccolata's stand is action. That's Green Day. Narancia jumps down into the team's boat, resulting in the near death of almost everyone.
Yep.
Thankfully, Mista shoots the boat engine to make it explode and push Narancia up to the shores. This feat catches the interest of Cioccolata and Secco, who are filming the whole ordeal from a vantage point, because they're perverts.
I mean, there was a man that was trying to pee, and then he died. So
and then his leg fell off, and he's just like, oh no.
They're totally perverts.
Yeah. He almost melted there.
Yes.
Luckily, Mista saves the day this time. It doesn't just do something stupid to kill him.
I mean, he does blow up the boat, but it saves the day. So
it's a smart decision that time.
It is a very smart decision, just also destructive.
True. Episode 30, the fight against Cioccolata and Secco continues. Cioccolata now 6 Secco on the team. Meanwhile, Giorno heals Narancia and the turtle, and Narancia has a conversation with Trish about Bucciarati's leadership. When Bucciarati and Mista ascend some stairs, the whole infrastructure begins to sink under the influence of Secco's stand Oasis. You know, it's 2 brothers who fight with each other all the time. This is called Sanctuary. Should have named it Wonderwall.
You should have named it Wonderwall. But now it's named after the song from Kingdom Hearts 2.
Or the Jake Isles song.
That too, yeah.
But yes, it's also... They should have named it differently in Japanese and English then.
Also worth mentioning, this dude's basically like in a gimp suit.
Yeah.
It's weird.
When they said he's a human pet, they mean he's a human pet.
Yeah, he is a human pet. I'm not here to kink shame, but I'm kind of here to kink shame this too.
Oasis's power is that he can turn rock into sludge. You know, as you do. While Mista and Bruno reach the parking lot, or Bucciarati. I don't know, I just called him Bruno there for 1 second.
Wow, you're on first name basis.
Sorry, excuse
now?
me. Mr. Bucciarati. Secco continues to pursue and eventually wounds Mista. Here's another one for the Mista counter.
Where's the whiteboard?
Bucciarati then jumps down to the parking lot, surprising Secco and pummeling him to force him to a retreat. Secco dives underground, then explains to Cioccolata that Bucciarati must be a walking corpse as he was unaffected by the mold. Meanwhile, the group has already stolen a car and are driving to Rome. Giorno and Bucciarati use a private moment to discuss further Bucciarati's strange condition, and Bucciarati takes his status as a small blessing that allows him to fulfill his mission. They are interrupted when a mold-ridden corpse falls from them. Cioccolata and Secco have caught up in a helicopter, and the mold begins to massacre Rome's population. Secco dives to the ground, but Giorno and Mista team up to stop Cioccolata's helicopter at the top of a tower. The team subsequently splits up to defeat both stands users.
Yep.
Also, they have, Cioccolata and Secco have, a cell phones they talk to each other with.
Yes.
Early 2001 cell phones, so they're probably just, Nokia phones and are just indestructible. They're going to play Snake on them later.
I mean, it kind of looked like that.
Yeah. Next episode, as we continue this arc, the fight against Cioccolata and Secco continues, which was literally the first sentence from the last time.
Yep.
Bucciarati has decided to handle Secco, but he then discovers that Secco has beat him in strength and speed. Overwhelmed, Bucciarati must flee into the streets of Rome. For his part, Cioccolata is stuck in his helicopter and sees Giorno and Mista arrive for him. However, when Mista sends 5 of the Sex Pistols to kill Cioccolata, they notice that he's disappeared and get ambushed, resulting in Mista being taken out. Giorno thus goes to rescue the pistols with number 5, but it also gets ambushed because Cioccolata has managed to cut himself into pieces and survive thanks to his medical knowledge. Green Day pummels Giorno out of the helicopter. Yes, out of the helicopter, but Giorno ultimately makes number 5's bullet ricochet against the blades of the helicopter and shoot into Cioccolata's head, taking him out. Cioccolata attempts a last gambit by playing dead, but is ultimately foiled, and Gold Experience violently pummels him into a garbage truck. Cioccolata is defeated. Secco then receives a voicemail from Cioccolata, who encourages him, and Secco comes out to fight Bucciarati. Unbeknownst to them, the mysterious ally is already observing them.
Yeah. So this whole Giorno fight at the end here was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really cool. Also, this guy freaked me out with his whole I'm just gonna cut myself into pieces, Cash.
I know exactly what parts to cut into pieces, and I'll just be fine afterwards. It's A-okay.
Wild and
that's a little messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, I was real happy to see this dude get thrown in the garbage truck.
He sure does. Also, Giorno just outsmarts him at the end, and it's very good.
That's what I mean, is that was so satisfying to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Episode 32. Hey, the battle against Secco continues.
What? Who would have expected that?
Who would have expected? Bucciarati is forced to retreat, but is caught up. The two then discover that Cioccolata has died by observing the crowd, but Secco surprisingly takes it well as he reveals that he only followed the surgeon for his wealth and treats. Secco nonetheless decides to go to the Colosseum to take what Bucciarati is after. Bucciarati is forced to stop him, but another fistfight cements Secco's superiority over Sticky Fingers. Thus, Bucciarati goes underground and zips his way throughout the soil to join the Colosseum. Secco swimming after him, just swimming through the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Using his hearing, Secco relentlessly tracks Bucciarati, and when Bucciarati decides to stand still, Secco then creates spikes of hardened rock that he makes rain down on the softened ground. Meanwhile, it is revealed the mysterious ally is one Jean-Pierre Polnareff.
Yeah, it is!
Yeah!
Oh, I'm so excited to see him again.
And that he must protect his arrow's secret at all cost. Bruno is forced to move and is cornered but a car is sunk near him, and he has Sticky Fingers punch the car's tire. The explosion bursts Secco's eardrums while Bucciarati is past caring about them because he's dead.
He's dead.
Resurfacing, Secco incidentally meets Doppio and takes him hostage, but Bruno takes him out. Again, I don't know why this is all Bruno with this. Bucciarati then collapses as his body has reached its limits, and Doppio approaches to execute Bruno for good. It's a wild way to just be like, I'm just going to blow this tire up, but also I don't care if my eardrums get hurt because it's not like I'm using them that much anymore. I'm not going to be using them that much for much longer anyways.
Nope.
Easy peasy. But yeah, Polnareff's back.
Casually dead.
Good boy has returned.
He's also missing his leggies.
Yeah, he's gotten roughed up in the time since we last saw him.
Yep.
In the 10 years I guess since we last saw him.
Yeah.
I guess over 10 years, like 12 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 33. Instead of killing Bucciarati, Doppio decides to pass himself off as a harmless citizen to help carry Bucciarati to his destination. Diavolo enhances the ploy by deducing that Bucciarati is now a corpse who can only see spirits and emitting a bit of his own soul. Bucciarati is fooled into thinking Doppio is Trish. The two enter the Colosseum where they are confronted by Polnareff from the second floor. Polnareff eventually sees Doppio as a suspicious person, and both him and Diavolo remember Polnareff's attempt to investigate the arrows in Italy, only to be nearly killed by Diavolo in person. Polnareff forces Diavolo's hand, forcing the boss to come out and confront him. Diavolo gets the better of Polnareff a second time, and Polnareff is forced to pierce Silver Chariot with the arrow in front of Diavolo to protect it. Diavolo kills Polnareff and takes the arrow. Looking down on the first floor, he sees Team Bucciarati coming to their leader and plans to kill them, but he then sees a new stand in front of them. Very spooky.
Man. Polnareff.
My dude.
He's so good.
What a man. What a boy.
I love Polnareff. Also, this made me question, and I don't think that there is actually an answer to this, but I think I asked it of you when we were watching it. I was like, which dude is actually Trish's dad? Is it Doppio or is it Diavolo?
I would assume it's Diavolo. But I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, like...
But also, they're the same person, so...
Yeah, I mean, they're the same person in one body, so I mean, it's kind of messed up anyway, but... I
mean, it's the same question to ask is, who is Giorno's biological father?
Well, we had that conversation
exactly.
Is it Dio or is it Jonathan?
It's kind of the same question.
Yeah, fair. Well, they both have two dads. How about that?
Why do you get two dads?
Why does one of them really evil?
Episode 34. Diavolo has taken the arrow from Polnareff's corpse, but is now seeing a new stand in black walking in front of him. Soon, the entirety of Rome is put to sleep. The stand takes the arrow, and a few hours pass. When the team wakes up, they realize that they have switched bodies. Giorno with Narancia, Mista with Trish. To Trish's dismay, but the switch doesn't look like an attack as the group is otherwise fine, and they discover that their stand abilities have been empowered. The team then meets with Polnareff, whose soul was put in the turtle Coco Jumbo. Polnareff presents himself and explains that the arrow unlocks greater power, narrating the incident, allowing him to discover that Silver Chariot could gain the power to control souls. He's been forced to completely turn Silver Chariot into Chariot Requiem, and the group must now defeat it to take the arrow. He also warns that Diavolo may be working alongside a partner. The heroes spot Diavolo and Chariot Requiem and prepare to attack. However, Diavolo then summons Sticky Fingers to attack Chariot Requiem, meaning Bucciarati is in the boss's body. I think this is the episode where we get like Polnareff kind of describing, like, obviously, like, here's the stuff with the arrow, here is my backstory, where you get to see like the Golden Wind versions of like Jotaro and stuff, and it's real weird. Like, I don't know why they just didn't just use... I mean, they do kind of, like, animate, like, a new scene. Because, like, it's Polnareff and Jotaro meeting back up together to investigate more of the arrows. But, like, I don't know why they just, like, animate them, like, Stardust Crusaders style. I mean, obviously, it may be just a different team, so that could be why. But, like, it's so weird.
It's very, very weird.
But, yeah, like, I think this is also the time where Polnareff kind of talks about like what happened to him, where he went to investigate this arrow and everything, and then finds Diavolo, and Diavolo just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Leaves him for dead.
Yep.
But Polnareff manages to basically escape with his life, and now he just doesn't have leggies anymore.
No leggies.
Also, he doesn't have a body anymore either, so.
Yeah.
Now he's just a turtle, man.
Now he's a turtle.
He's like, hey, so my stand's now kind of bad and doing some real bad stuff. You guys gotta kind of stop it.
Please help.
You need to get an arrow away from him. That leads us into the next episode.
Yep.
Bucciarati, who is in Diavolo's body, has seemingly taken out Chariot Requiem and severed his arm. However, the team soon discover that when they try to approach the arrow, their stands automatically begin to attack them. Thus, Chariot Requiem is free to take back his arm and the arrow and walk away. The team then also realize that Diavolo must now be in Bucciarati's body and shoot him when he wakes up. Despite Requiem, all seems well, and Narancia thinks about his future. Yep.
Never do that. Never.
However, time is erased again. The team realize that Narancia has been impaled on iron bars. It is too late for Narancia, and the team can only mourn their lost companion. Giorno also regains his body. For his part, Polnareff deduces that Diavolo and Doppio were split personalities and that Diavolo's soul may be lurking nearby. The group must depart to catch up to Chariot Requiem. In the streets, Bucciarati experiments with Requiem, and Polnareff tries to grab the arrow since he's standless. This spurs Chariot Requiem into action, who now runs towards the turtle. So yeah, immediately, like when this episode was happening and Narancia was going like, "Oh, I can't wait to do this and this," and in the future, you're like, "Oh, these are death flags. These are death flags." And then immediately it was like, "Oh yeah, he's dead."
Yeah, and it's weird because you see Giorno's body just like impaled. You're like, oh no. And it's not even just like a single impalement, like it is impaled.
Mm-hmm.
And like they get him down and they're able to, I guess, fix up the Giorno body, but they can't fix up the Narancia that's in it. And so
they try and heal him, and like they're able to kind of heal him, but they're like, it's too late.
His soul is already gone.
Yeah.
And so like when Narancia's body is like back, they like set him on the side of a wall at the Coliseum, and Giorno like grows beautiful flowers and vines. Body, I was like, oh, that's really nice. I hope that they went back and got him.
Well, I assume so, because they do go back to that area.
Yeah, that's true. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna take you home, but like that was really sad. And
they got another body to pick up.
That's true. They explained that like the reason he was targeted was because he could see where people were.
Yes.
So you no longer have a tracker.
This is very bad.
Yes, very, very bad. It was sad. It was really sad. But yeah, as soon as he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get back, I'm gonna go back to school, I'm like, oh, he's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. Why did you say that? Why did you do that?
Rip.
Ah.
Well, let's dive into these last couple episodes.
Yeah, we're almost to the end.
Episode 36. The struggle to defeat Chariot Requiem continues. After Polnareff touches the arrow, Giorno and Mista must protect him from Chariot Requiem, and Mista must replace his inexplicably broken revolver with a pistol. After a short struggle, Chariot stops running after Polnareff and goes away with the arrow, only for it to be revealed that everyone is beginning to mutate into otherworldly creatures because of Chariot. Meanwhile, Diavolo has seen Chariot's weakness. Time presses, but Giorno suddenly tells everyone to be still. He's checked Misto's revolver and proves that it was sabotaged. From that, he deduces that Diavolo is hiding inside one of them. When Giorno checks on Bucciarati, Diavolo manifests from the same body as his daughter and attacks Giorno, severing an arm. Diavolo then catches up to Chariot Requiem, using time erasure to evade all attacks. In truth, a hidden light orb can be attacked behind each soul's head, and King Crimson punches his orb to disable Chariot and take the arrow. The group tries to prevent Diavolo from taking the arrow, culminating it in being sent in the air, but King Crimson punching through his host's stomach to send himself flying toward the arrow and kills Trish once and for all. A whole lot happens.
A whole lot happens in this episode. Oh man. One thing that is positive about this, because there's a lot of bad stuff that happens here.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy in the body swap episodes the like back and forth with Trish and Mista.
Yeah. Like
it's really, really good. I also think that it's amazing how the voice actors were able to like pull off the little like vocal quirks of the characters, because you know, you had like Sean Chiplock voicing Trish basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was wild, but you know, they were able to like pull off like how the characters actually speak, and that's impressive.
Yeah,
it's really, really good. Like you were never looking at them and saying like, oh, that's Trish and Trish's body. Like you would hear her speak and you're like, oh no, Mista's in Trish's body.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clear, and especially like the way that she's standing and everything too. It's really well done. But
it's also like more impressive because like these were COVID episodes, so like
yeah,
being able to do all of that in the midst of everything happening.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
It's really impressive. Also, I love that the credits always had like their names in parentheses.
Like this character, but really this character.
It was fantastic. But yeah, a lot of stuff happened in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of got some ramp ups that happened at the end here.
Yep. And it's going to continue ramping up for a little bit. Episode 37. Diavolo almost grabs the arrowhead, but Bucciarati intervenes. He has too seen through Chariot Requiem and definitely destroys the light orb behind him to obliterate Chariot, forcing Diavolo's soul away from the arrow. Everyone returns to their original body, and Giorno is able to heal Mista's body, because Mista obviously gets hurt more.
Yep.
Moreover, Giorno witnesses Bucciarati's soul ascending to heaven. Bucciarati explains how Giorno affected his life for the better and trusts to him the end of their mission. Goes off to the P cloud in the sky. Giorno thus takes the arrow. Diavolo is bitter over his loss of the arrow, but is reassured as he forecasts Giorno being rejected. However, when Giorno stabs Gold Experience, it does turn into Gold Experience Requiem. Gur performs a first attack, but Diavolo foresees it and doesn't see any real damage. Considering King Crimson to still be superior, Diavolo erases time. Foreseeing himself punching through Giorno, Diavolo is elated, but his joy is crushed as he sees that time is rewinding back and that his time erasure is being undone. Diavolo finds himself in the same position he was just before the time erasure was activated and is powerless to prevent Gold Experience Requiem from starting to pummel him and King Crimson.
Also, Giorno gets a Dio mullet at this point.
Yeah.
His hair comes undone from his little like twisty thing in the back, and he just gets a straight up mullet. He looks so much like his dad at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa, you are Dio's maybe kid.
Yep.
And he just rocks the mullet for the rest of it.
Yeah.
He's like, sure, whatever. I got this awesome Requiem stand now.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Which, yeah, even Requiem's like, yeah, Giorno has no idea what I can do.
Which is scary.
It's very scary.
Diavolo the whole time
says that.
Yeah, Diavolo the whole time is just like, I did it. I'm going to win again. And then like once timer starts like rewinding, he's like, excuse me? What is this?
I would like to speak to your manager.
The manager is Gold Experience Requiem, who just punches him in the face a lot.
or Sever Muda.
Yep. Wild.
Man. Can you imagine having a stand that even you don't know the like extent of its powers? That's terrifying.
Terrifying.
That's absolutely terrifying. Also, like he poses like crazy. Requiem does, I mean. He is all about them JoJo. Basically, Requiem's extra.
Yes.
That's really all we gotta say.
Penultimate episode time.
Mm-hmm.
Giorno's Gold Experience Requiem soundly defeats Diavolo and King Crimson, sending them into the Tiber. Diavolo seemingly survives and climbs up to a sewer only to be stabbed by a druggie. Diavolo then continuously experiences various gruesome deaths and his spirit is eventually broken. For their part, the team is convinced that they are victorious. Mista then tells the group to go back to the Colosseum and heal Bucciarati, unaware of his death. Seeing the spirits of his fallen comrades in the sky, Giorno sees the arrow on the ground. The plot then jumps back to the past.
Yep.
During lunch, Bucciarati learns that Luca has just died and must investigate it. At the same time, a florist comes and claims that his daughter has been murdered by her boyfriend, explaining that she was holding a round rock in her arms. Bucciarati accepts to also investigate the matter and asks Mista to resolve the case. As Fugo drives Bucciarati and Mista to the boyfriend's apartment, Mista suspects that he is stalked by a round rock. His suspicions worry Bucciarati, and when Mista goes to the boyfriend's address, Bucciarati decides to go after him. When Mista uses the elevator, he spots the boyfriend and the rock reappears, which worryingly takes the shape of a dying Bucciarati. First half of this episode is really cool.
Really cool. I mean, like the death loop is really well done.
There's a very poignant just saying of Diavolo thinking like he's gonna escape again and be able to find a way to fight back, and then getting killed by like a druggie who is addicted to the drugs that he has supplied this country.
Yep. Man, but like one of the last things we see is like this little girl comes up to him and he's terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And so it shows like he's scared of everything at this point because he's died so many times in so many different ways that he's like, I can't do anything. I don't know what to do. Like even this tiny child is scary to me. Which I mean, I don't know, maybe she's gonna kill him. Who knows? But yeah, he Deathloop is intense. That is hardcore.
It's a real messed up way to go.
Yeah, it is. Like, oh, Giorno, what did you do?
Like, Mista and Trish are like looking over the river, being like, "Oh, where is he? Where is he?" And then like at one point, Giorno's just like, don't worry, guys, he's gone. No, yeah. we're good. It's over."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, I guess we should probably go back to the Coliseum then." I guess. Okay. Good job.
Yay
Team.
I was so thrown off by the back half of this episode,
yeah.
though. I was like, what is happening right now?
It's very weird.
One of the first things that you mentioned, you're like, almost everyone at that table is dead.
Yeah, because it is like they're either dead or just missing.
Gone, yeah.
Because it is like it's Mista, Narancia, Abakio, and Fugo.
Mm-hmm. And then Bucciarati like is in and out of that room.
Yeah. So like Misa's the only one Mista and Fugo are the only one alive. Misa's the only one still around. Fugo's elsewhere.
He shows up at one point when Narancia dies, I think. I think that we get like a vision of him.
But like he's not like around.
No, he's just walking around in a city.
Yeah. But yeah, this takes a weird turn at the end here.
It does. Like the whole Rolling Stone thing. I was like, what is happening? Like, it just kind of felt like everything ground to a halt.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh man, we won. This is exciting. We're going to see what happens now. And it's like, what if we go to the past? I'm like, what? What?
So weird.
Excuse me?
Well, let's talk about this last episode then.
Let's do it.
Mista's investigation continues. Realizing that he's pitted against a stand user, Mista quickly overpowers the sculptor named Scalopi? Did they ever name him in the show? I don't remember naming him, so whatever, we'll go with that. And orders him to explain himself. Scalopi is revealed to be a benign stand user whose automatic stand, Rolling Stones, who they renamed to Prophecy Stones. I'm trying to say Philosophy Stones. Like, that's not how you say, or that's not how philosophy spelled. Prophecy Stones. But the Rolling Stones in reality. Tracks people fated to die, preemptively kills them. Bucciarati has in fact become its latest target and is following him. Rolling Stone suddenly disappears and Mista is told by Sex Pistols that Bucciarati is nearby. Mista begs Scalopi for a solution, and the sculptor suggests that he may change Bucciarati's fate by breaking the stone. Also, this talks about like Michelangelo and it's all about like sculpting.
Art history.
Yeah. Mista manages to delay Rolling Stones and ultimately jumps down the building with the Rolling Stones to break it, surviving by landing on Fugo's car. The gang leaves, but Scalopi notices that Bucciarati's fate, as well as that of Abakio and Narancia, were already sealed. Still, impressed by Mista's loyalty, Scalopi prays that their demise may serve some purpose. Back to the present, Giorno, Mista, and Trish head back to the Coliseum to heal Bucciarati. Meeting Coco Jumbo on the way back, because there's like a stone, like a rolling, like a round rock there that they see that Trish disappears behind, and then Polnareff's like, "Hey!" Meeting Coco Jumbo on the way back with Polnareff's spirit lingering in the room in his shell.
I love that he's just like, so I'm just kind of gonna hang around as a ghost if that's okay with you guys. Like,
and they're like, "Cool."
Yeah, cool ghost turtle man.
Giorno decides to safeguard the arrow. Sometime later, it is shown that Giorno has become the leader of the gang.
And Mista's his right-hand man.
Yeah, I mean, I would after everything Giorno and Mista have been through, I would trust Mista. Mista is the ride or die for you, literally.
No kidding. He is the ultimate ride or die. Like, I will easily say Mista is my favorite character in Goldwyn.
I think if there's one thing that like this weird flashback does at the end show you, it's that like Mista is definitely much different than he was at like the beginning of the series.
Yeah.
He's way more competent and like less just like spastic and freaks out all the time. He has more of like a calmer mind at times, even though he still does dumb stuff. Don't get me wrong.
He is still a spaz, but not quite as spazzy.
Yes. But yeah, like it's weird. These last couple episodes are weird because like
very weird.
The whole like moral of the Rolling Stones bit is that like, you know, if fate gets you, fate's going to get you. Destiny is going to do whatever it does.
Yeah.
Which is obviously something that we've kind of learned throughout JoJo. I don't think we need like a little mini arc to just hit you over the head that that's a thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like that just seems real counterintuitive and almost like weirdly insulting to your audience.
Yeah.
It's real weird. Like I wanted to see more of like, you know, like what's Giorno, Trish, and Mista going to do after this? Like what do they go off and do now? And then you just get a mini scene like obviously Giorno takes over and everything, but like that's it.
Black suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, we don't see them go back to the Coliseum, really. We don't see, like, how react, like, the other two react to
Hmm.
Bucciarati being gone. Like, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Trish is just gone,
Yeah.
and they give no explanation for that, which you said she's a pop star now, but, like,
That's in a light novel. Whether or not you want to believe that's canon or not, that's up to you. So
it's just, it's really wild. And it honestly does her a disservice that she's just gone.
mm.
Because she's been a main character, and like she's one of the surviving members of this squad.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna like ignore that she exists? Okay, fine.
I feel like there are way more questions than answers at the end of this compared to a lot of the other series, and in particular, like it's going to be very weird because, like, obviously, you know, with the way this series goes forward, like part 6 is the last part of like this modern time frame before everything gets into weird time shenanigans in part 7 and 8.
Yeah.
So you're not really going to get any answers or closure or anything from this. So it's very bizarre. Pun intended.
But also like hilarious. Like I understand how hierarchy works, everything, but just like a 15-year-old taking over, sure, all right. But I was not satisfied at all with this ending.
Yeah.
Like with the whole Rolling Stones thing, it just ground it to a halt.
Which is a bummer because, like, I think you probably have the same idea as me, where like, you know, the couple episodes prior when like the Diavolo fight happens with Golden Experience Requiem and everything, like
it was cool.
Everything's so hype and everything. You're just like on board, like, oh, I can't wait to see how this ends, and then just like,
yeah,
okay.
It's super cool. Like, okay, I'm gonna do a very weird comparison. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. So this is like you go and eat like the most amazing food in the world. Like it tastes great, it looks beautiful, you're so excited. And then like while you're eating it, you know, you're getting ready to finish it up and everything. You're super stoked. It's been great. Somebody across from you just lets out the weirdest, nastiest fart and just ruins the whole thing. That's what happened here. The Rolling Stones arc was a fart.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Because, I mean, like, after that happens, you're just like, oh, man, I'm not really as into this anymore. And it sucks because I liked Golden Wind quite a bit up to that point. And then just, like, it did not stick that landing.
Mm-mm.
And that sucks. I mean, you usually get some level of closure on these characters because you care about them.
Yeah.
And, like, cool, he's a mafia leader. Yay.
Like he fulfilled what he wanted to do. He fulfilled his he fulfilled his dream and everything. Like obviously, yes. That's very important, but like I think you could do more than just
you could do more
that.
than 15 seconds of it.
Yes, exactly.
With like Mista like longingly looking out the window of a garden.
He's remembering his friends.
Yeah, I mean they do have like mementos of their friends on the table, but I don't know. It was just very weird. I did not like the last 2 episodes. Like I liked the death loop because that was intense.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, I was just like, what is even happening right now?
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I don't think like this. I don't think like that ending ruins the show per se. But it does just leave you kind of just like feeling real like not satisfied.
Yeah, that's
just
really
disappointing.
I feel disappointed and not satisfied.
Would you? I mean, this
also,
might. Sorry,
like,
go ahead.
I was gonna say like they had the full opening at the beginning and the full closing at the end. Like you could have cut one of those to put more time into like what's actually happening with the story and the characters.
I mean, like even then, like it's an anime, so like you can. If you want to go like a smidge longer, you totally can. But also, like this is that's how the manga wraps. This isn't like the anime changing things to suit its needs. Like this is how the manga wrapped up as well. So
yeah,
you can't really say that the anime did anything differently because it really didn't. I mean, it changed some things here and there, but like this is how the manga wraps up too.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I interrupted you.
This might be a little off the cuff.
Okay.
in terms of just like as an emotional feeling and everything, but this might be the second worst JoJo.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Which is not what I was expecting coming into this.
No, because it's like one of the most popular.
Yeah.
Like easily one of the most popular. I was like, whoa. But yeah, it's the second worst for me too. I was thinking about the rankings when we finished it. I was like, where would I rank this in comparison to the rest of them? And I was like, it's the bottom. Like it's near the bottom.
Yeah.
Yikes. Did not expect that.
Like I said, I wouldn't have either. But I'm like those last two episodes just really end you kind of on a down note.
Yeah.
Because like even like when we were getting ready to watch it Saturday night, we were still like, oh, what is this weird backstory, like this flashback arc? Like, what is the purpose of this? Like, there's got to be something really crazy that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not really. It's just, hey, Bucciarati was going to get messed up, and so were Narancia and Abakio.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like,
okay.
Oh, hey, this guy can. His stones tell you how people die. Oh, look, Bucciarati's got a hole in his chest. Interesting. Wow. Okay. Like, what? Why does this matter?
Yeah, I don't know.
We knew that he died. We know that. And I mean, like, it's always tragic whenever we have team members die. Like, it sucks whenever team members die in these.
Like, imagine the end of Stardust Crusaders, like, breaking up the last episode to do a flashback arc that was like, so, Iggy, Kakyoin, Avdol are all going to die.
Yeah.
Like, that just would be so weird and just, like, break up the entire flow of, like, everything that's happening.
Yeah. Well, and it also makes it feel a little bit cheaper in terms of, like, how they died and what they died for.
Because it's like, oh, it was just predetermined.
Right. So it's not like, oh, hey, Abakio really died trying to help out the cause and figure out who the boss was. Like, no, he was just determined. Like, it was fate that he would die. And it's like, really? Really? And like Bucciarati literally walked around as a zombie and by the end couldn't hear or see. And they're like, oh, but that was fate. That was fate. And it's like, no, this was this man like having some of the golden wind energy, but also like he was determined as heck. And like I'm pretty sure that determination's what got him as far as it did.
And if you put it that way, like it's a weird counter argument to like the whole philosophy of this series, like of part 5 particularly, where it's like being determined to change things.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the whole thing, is that but like I feel like partially it's trying to say like even if you're super determined to change things, you're not going to be able to. But then also Giorno changes things and is now ahead of the mafia. So like his determination has helped him change things.
Right.
Like it's a message at the end that does not know what it wants to say.
No.
It's weird.
But yeah, it's definitely second worst JoJo.
Well,
he gets to go hang out with his dad. Both of his dads. At the bottom there.
dads.
Dads. I mean, both of his dads are in the worst one, so.
Yeah. Not wrong.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode then.
Yeah. We're also leaving on a bummer note here.
like I said, I think there's a lot of good in this series, but like
there's a lot of good.
That ending is just not great, which is a bummer, and that's kind of the last thing you get. So like it kind of leaves you feeling all bummed.
It really does.
Which is like, a bummer.
I will wholeheartedly 1,000% say that the best part of Golden Wind is Mista. Like I have no trouble saying that whatsoever.
And I think as well, like, we had to talk about like all like the stuff about the ending, but like there's so many weird things that they just like briefly mention and then just never discuss again.
Yeah, like the whole Dio is his dad thing is like brought up. You'd think that would be important, but it's just dropped.
Yeah.
There was something else I was like, oh, they brought that up and then they just dropped it. What was it? I don't remember. But there are a few
regardless,
things
yeah.
that it was just like, oh, hey, this is going to be cool. And then it's just not even touched on.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's Golden Wind for you.
Yep.
If you would like more from us, go to seasonanimecheckup.com or sec.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Season Anime Checkup and Jared and Al Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well, and also find our past episodes on JoJo and JoJo-related media on the site as well. If you would like more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. Buy our book, One Shining Moment, a critical analysis of Love Life Sunshine on Amazon.com. And also buy Al's book, Hot Tubs and Pac-Man, also available now.
Yay!
And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to bonus episodes, unedited episodes, all sorts of fun goodness. That's all there.
Yep.
Next week,
we're going to talk about Otome?
Potentially.
I have an Otome to talk about. I want to
talk about some Otome, talk about some satellite video games.
Oh, right.
Or we'll talk about a JRPG. One or the other.
You think we'll finish by then?
I mean, I'm just putting it out there just in case. I'm not saying that's a possibility, but hey, if it is, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, sure.
So just be on your guard.
We got stuff on the plate, y'all.
Yep. Just in time for Thanksgiving, so it's gonna be all bad food.
Blech.